The incredible transformation of two silent twins revealed by a new cleaning lady in just 30 days. In a sleepy suburban town, whispers faded into the wind. But the rise of two 10-year-old twins, Ethan and Noah, shifted the air with a promise of hope. Since birth, they were simply shadows, silent residents in a house draped in grief after losing their father to illness. Their mother, anchored to her heartbreak, worked herself to the bone to keep their dim lights flickering, while the world around them walked past, clutching their own judgments like heavy stones. The twins, lost in isolation, simply wished to be seen. Then came Maria, a radiant cleaning lady, with her messy bun and sparkling eyes. She had just escaped echoes of her own troubled past and stepped into the fragile lives of the twins. "You two are treasures," she declared one night over warm cookies they never thought they could share. With every giggle and twirl, her kindness brushed away the cobwebs of silence. Each day, she coaxed them to play, coaxed them to feel, opening doors long shut. Through artful games, laughter erupted like fireworks, each boisterous moment a gentle nudge towards connection. Ethan had a way with a pencil, dashing colors across the page, while Noah, inspired by the strum of his mother's old guitar, started to unfurl the melodies trapped in his heart. They were no longer just the silent twins, but two little stars learning to shine within darkness. But with newfound joy came unexpected shadows. A local news segment caught their artistic spirits and highlighted their extraordinary talents. However, instead of celebration, the town was thrown into chaos. "They're just tools of charity," one voice yelled, while another chimed in with doubt. "What do they know about hard work?" The twins became a hot topic, stirring a pot of misunderstandings as their small world cracked under the weight of old prejudices. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tension tightened like a vice, and suddenly, Maria, who had become a beacon of hope, found herself besieged by accusations. People questioned her intentions and goodness, scrutinizing her relationship with the twins. "They're just using her," murmured the neighbors, further entrenching the twins into their icy silence. Amidst the turmoil, Ethan and Noah found solace in the music and colors bursting from their hearts. They clutched at each other, faces bright with resolve. They knew they wanted to take a stand. The local fair became their battleground, an opportunity to reveal their true selves. Could the community step beyond their shadows and embrace them for who they truly were? As the fair approached, excitement mingled with a knot of anxiety. The air thickened, crackling with anticipation and doubt. Would they be met with open hearts, or would the dark cloud of judgment loom larger? The question lingered in the air, a bittersweet challenge to their spirits, leaving everyone wondering if love and understanding truly had the power to overcome prejudice. The day of the fair dawned bright and clear, the sun painting the town in golden hues. Ethan and Noah stood side by side, their hearts racing like the flutter of butterflies. Maria insisted on helping them prepare, an unexpected surge of support they desperately needed. "This is your moment," she beamed, as she adjusted the little bow ties around their necks. Each stitch felt like a thread tying them closer to this moment of courage. The fairgrounds buzzed with laughter and splashing colors. Bright banners flapped in the wind, and the scent of popcorn wafted through the air. But beneath the fun, Ethan and Noah felt the weight of many eyes watching them. They stepped forward, squeezing each other's hands tightly, but the clouds of judgment lingered, darkening their hopeful hearts as they approached the booth they had prepared. A poster decorated with their painted creations caught their eye. The colors leaped out, vibrant and alive, a reflection of the joy that brimmed inside them. They had painted not just images but the very essence of their journey, their struggles, fears, and, ultimately, their awakening. "What if they don't accept us?" whispered Noah, his voice quivering like a fragile leaf. "Remember, we've come this far. "And we can do this together," Ethan replied, determination sparking in his eyes. They took a deep breath and stepped up onto the makeshift stage, glancing out at the crowd, a sea of curious faces. The chatter quieted slightly as whispers rode on the breeze. "They'll never change," someone scoffed from the back, yet others seemed intrigued. Leaning in closer, Maria, standing off to the side, felt a lump in her throat. She believed in these boys more than anyone realized. They had fought against shadows of despair and had found their light. Now it was time for others to see it. "Go on, boys," she called out, her voice cutting through the thick tension. The twins exchanged nervous glances, but united they moved forward. They began to share their story, their silence, the heartbreak, and how Maria unlocked their spirits. As they spoke, Noah's fingers gently strummed the back of the guitar he brought, the notes swirling through the air, wrapping around the audience. Ethan painted colors as he spoke, each hue matching the rhythm of their tale. First, the crowd was hesitant. Faces shifted from skepticism to surprise, and even smiles began to break through the frowns. They could feel the magic building in the air, the power of vulnerability. Ethan's vibrant strokes on the canvas brought gasps, reflecting their journey, while Noah's music sang of hope. But just when it seemed the tide was turning, a rough shout pierced through. "Why should we care? They're just kids." The murmur spread like wildfire, and the boys' hearts sank. Many still failed to see them, still chose judgment over understanding. Taking a deep breath, Noah looked to Ethan, who nodded. Would they really let this negativity snuff out their moment? Gathering every ounce of courage, Noah raised his voice above the noise. "We are not just charity cases. We are artists, we are brothers, and we are more than you think." Silence fell over the crowd. A fragile moment hung in the air. Would someone finally understand? Would anyone care to bridge the gap? Everything teetered on the edge of revelation. They had faced darkness before. Could they lift the veil for others too? As a hush settled over the audience, Ethan and Noah searched their hearts for the answer. The moment of truth was upon them, poised to unravel hearts or deepen divides. Would their voices break the chains of silence forever? Noah's voice echoed, a tremor of fear and determination woven together. "We are here. We are real. And we matter." He spoke as if wielding a sword, cutting through the lingering doubt. Ethan stood tall beside him, painting strokes of vibrant color over the canvas, each one an act of defiance against the shadows of scorn that loomed over them. A quiet rustle came from the crowd as they processed Noah's words. Eyes flickered with uncertainty and intrigue. Were they really just kids? Or could they be something more? The tension in the air was palpable, like a rubber band stretched too far, ready to snap. Across the sea of faces, a tall figure stood out. Mr. Langley, the local art teacher, had his arms crossed, uncertainty etched on his face. Yet his eyes glimmered with something more, a spark of recognition. He had seen talent before, had nurtured budding artists who were too shy to let their voices be heard. But these twins were different. There was depth to their struggle. A canvas painted not just with colors but with raw emotion. "Speak from your hearts," he called out, breaking the hesitation. "Don't let fear consume you." Gaining strength from his encouragement, Ethan stepped forward. "We've been silent for so long, but we've learned that art is our voice. It's how we express everything we couldn't say." He took a step closer to the audience, looking them in the eye, seeking connection. "We want you to see us, the real us." Tension thickened, the air almost crackling with anticipation. Some faces softened, and murmurs of empathy began to replace doubt. A small flicker of hope ignited in Maria's chest. She saw their journey unfold in real time. Noah strummed his guitar with a growing confidence, each note resonating with a deeper truth. He sang softly at first, a melody wrapped in nervousness, but as he poured his soul into the song, the notes swelled. "Let me tell you my story. Let me show you the way." Ethan painted with fervor, each stroke reflecting their struggle and triumph in vivid splashes. The vibrant colors on his canvas began to narrate their tale. It wasn't just about rejection. It was about resilience. The things they learned from silence became their greatest strength. People leaned in, captivated by their eyes, their words, and the raw energy they had brought forth. What initially felt like a desperate plea transformed into a rallying cry of affirmation. The crowd shifted, a wave of acceptance rolling through as more faces began to nod, smiling with newfound understanding. Maria's heart swelled with pride as the audience leaned into this vulnerable moment. Just when light seemed to break through the clouds of judgment, a loud voice emerged from the back. "I can't believe you dragged this place down with your nonsense." A young man jeered, snickering to a companion. Noah's breath caught. Fear clawed at him again. Would this be the end of their moment? But Ethan placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. "We can't let this stop us," he whispered, a fierce determination igniting between them. "Let us show them who we are." We won T back down. Taking a deep breath, they stepped further into their truth, ready to confront both the acceptance blossoming around them and the continued resistance they faced. Would they have the strength to transform hearts, or would darkness still reign? In that fragile moment, the twins made a promise to not just share their art, but to face their fears together, one note, one brushstroke at a time. As the crowd held its breath, waiting for their next move, Ethan and Noah stood at the cusp of a turning point. What awaited them beyond the stage? Would they find allies, or would the judgment return to break their spirit once again? The moment hung, a delicate balance of hope and anxiety. Noah glanced at Ethan, their silent bond deepening in that glance. The crowd's murmurs, filled with uncertainty and curiosity, began to stir his courage. "Let us turn this around," he mouthed to his brother. Noah took a step forward, his heart racing. "You know what?" he said, raising his guitar with newfound determination. "We are tired of hiding. This is us. This is our story." Before he could second-guess himself, he launched into a different song. The melody was stronger, fueled by both anger and the desire for liberation. "We carry the weight of fears that choke, but we're rising up, ready to choke the dark." His voice cracked with raw emotion, yet it carried a force that captivated those gathered. The crowd began to sway, some tapping their feet, others softly mouthing the words. Noah could see it, the shift, from scorn to something warmer, something accepting. Ethan, inspired by his brother's surge of confidence, dipped his brush into bright yellow paint and splattered it onto the canvas. "This moment isn't just ours, it's for everyone who feels unheard." His voice rose to meet Noah's cadence, harmonizing into the space between them. Each stroke of the brush was a release. The colors danced on the canvas like the emotions bubbling inside them. Blues for the sadness, reds for the anger, greens for the growth they had yet to experience. Noah's notes twirled around them, and with every chord, the apprehension dissipated like fog under the morning sun. Mr. Langley stepped closer, his expression shifting from skepticism to pride. Even the young man at the back fell silent, his jeers replaced by an intrigue he couldn't quite shake. There was power in vulnerability, and he was beginning to realize it as the energy in the room escalated. Maria felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. The twins were no longer just battling their demons. They were inviting everyone into their journey. "Can you see the truth in these colors?" Ethan called out, gesturing toward his vivid masterpiece. "Can you feel what we all felt?" Suddenly, applause erupted from the front. It started slow, almost hesitant, but it grew, filling the room with acceptance. People stood, clapping rhythmically, their faces illuminated with understanding. But in the back of her mind, Maria worried. Applause didn't erase doubt completely. A new voice might rise again, louder and meaner, determined to shatter this fragile moment. Noah caught a glimpse of Maria's worried expression during his performance. "Hey, this is just the beginning, okay?" he whispered, as if their connection could bridge any growing tension. "We're not alone." Ethan continued to paint, his hands steady as he poured every emotion into the canvas. Together, they were crafting not just a moment but a movement, something that couldn't be silenced. The world was shifting, transforming beneath their feet. Just when it seemed they had everyone on their side, the loud voice from earlier returned. "What a joke! You really think they care about your whining?" Noah's heart sank. Could they really withstand another wave of backlash? Despite his own surge of fear, Noah gripped the guitar tighter. "We'll keep standing. We'll keep singing." But doubt loomed large again. Would they truly find their allies, or face more battles? As the crowd's cheers mingled with the harsh voice, Noah and Ethan stood firm, ready to confront their next challenge together. With that thought hanging heavily in the air, they faced the crowd, hearts pounding. The next seconds could either seal their fate or set them free, but only if they pressed on. What awaited in this next moment could change everything once again. Would they find strength in their vulnerability, or would shadows return to snuff out their spark? Noah took a deep breath, steadying his nerves, and shifted his gaze to the crowd. The applause that had once felt like smooth waves crashing over him now came at him like a freight train, fierce and overwhelming. Yet, in the cacophony of claps and shouts, he sensed threads of unity weaving through the air. He couldn't let those threads snap. "Hey," he called out, choosing to face the critic directly. "It's not whining. It's about hope, about sharing pain instead of burying it." Ethan's heart raced, feeling the weight of their new audience hanging on his brother's words. All around him, expressions shifted, apologetic glances, sincere smiles, faces even brightened with tears, the kind that spoke of shared empathy. This was turning into something more. "Can you turn pain into beauty?" he shouted, dipping his brush into a vibrant blue and streaking it against the yellow. "It's never too late." The audience shifted again, now caught between the twins' frenetic energy and their own personal stories that reflected in the bold colors appearing on Ethan's canvas. They might not have come here looking for something deeper, but it was undeniably there, bubbling just below the surface. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the back. "You think you're so special?" It was the heckler again, louder, intensified. "Color isn't going to change your lives. It's just paint." A mix of groans and shouts rippled through the crowd, but Noah found fuel in that challenge. That loud, unrelenting voice reminded him of everything he wanted to prove, not just to others but to themselves. "Maybe paint can't change everything," Noah shouted back, feeling adrenaline surge through him. "But it can inspire, can ignite a fire. All of us here have a spark to share." Ethan blended colors, letting the brush run freely and capturing the chaotic emotions coiling around them. The canvas became a metaphor for their journey and the struggles of the crowd yearning to be heard. "Everyone has a story," Noah continued. "We're not just two silent twins. We're voices. We're here to stand up for all the unique colors that make us who we are." As he strummed the guitar, bold and fierce, the chord hung in the air. It felt like thunder, reverberating and shaking the ground they stood on. The crowd swayed again, but not just in rhythm. They began to shift closer, eyes intent on the unfolding transformation. Among them, Maria watched with bated breath. She could feel the energy, and it lit a fire within her. The moment wasn't just theirs anymore. It echoed through the crowd, urging others to share their voices too. The skeptic's shadows flickered, now partially eclipsed by the warmth emanating from this collective rallying. Suddenly, a voice deep in the crowd rose up. "Let us do this. Let us hear everyone's colors." With newfound strength, the chants and cheers surged forth. Claps turned to stomps, and the air buzzed with change. The twins' songs soared higher, their vulnerability weaving through the strands of bravery unfolding around them. But as the applause roared louder, they felt vulnerability creep in again. What if the critics' words echoed louder? What if the doubts returned with a vengeance? "Remember, they can't silence us if we show what we've got," Noah encouraged, locking eyes with Ethan. With that unyielding connection, the brothers took one more sweeping breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. As they set themselves up to deliver another verse, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. Was this the moment where everything changed? Would they emerge stronger together, or would uncertainty cloud their path yet again? Noah leaned into the microphone, heart racing, as the energy in the crowd shifted like a wave returning to the shore, filled with renewed life and possibility. The air hummed with anticipation, everyone waiting, waiting. He glanced over at Ethan, who had taken a step back, brush poised over the canvas, ready to capture whatever came next. The connection between them crackled with electricity. "All right," Noah roared, his voice cutting through the noise. "This is a call to action. Each of you is a stroke on this canvas of life. Together, we can create something unforgettable." The crowd erupted, their voices a mixture of cheers and shouts of approval. Noah could feel their hearts align with his own, thrumming in unison. For the first time in what felt like forever, doubts slipped further into the background, overshadowed by the magic brewing in this moment. Ethan swirled dark colors into his mixing palette, then splashed them across the canvas with fevered strokes. "Let us show them the beauty in our struggles," he called out, his voice amplifying every emotion they had poured into their art. The audience responded, hanging on to those words, willing to explore the complexities of their own journey through the twins. Noah's fingers flew over the strings of the guitar, strumming chords that resonated with determination. The music cascaded through the air, charging the atmosphere with vivid colors. He began to weave together the melodies and lyrics, expressing how pain and beauty intertwined, how each note formed a bridge between despair and hope. But just as it felt like everything was coming together, the heckler's voice cut in again, trying to derail the moment. "You're feeding them lies. It's all just nonsense." Noah clenched his jaw but refused to let anger drown out the light. "No, this is truth. It's messy, it's real." He could feel the audience holding their breath, a collective inhale, embodying the tension. "It's what makes us human. When we embrace our valleys, we also reach our peaks." Silence fell for a heartbeat before the crowd exploded with affirmations. Claps, stomps, and calls to action echoed around them. Every person began to share their own truth, shouting it into the vibrant air as if to drown out that lone voice of doubt. Ethan, inspired by this outpouring, began layering colors: bright reds mixed with deep blues, a testament to joy stirred by sadness. With every brushstroke, he painted their stories onto the canvas in sweeping motions, the colors colliding in an explosive display of raw emotion. Maria found herself moving forward, her voice joining the chorus. "I have my own story," she shouted, standing amidst the crowd, a beacon of bravery. As she shared, each word stripping away layers of isolation, her raw honesty gave other voices the strength to join in. Noah smiled, feeling the collective spirit soar. This moment wasn't just theirs. It echoed through everyone, a symphony of shared experience. As a rhythm took shape, the artwork burst into life, reflecting not just the twins' journey but the triumphs and struggles of each soul present. But then the atmosphere shifted again, crackling with something unspoken. All of a sudden, the crowd began to quiet down, eyes drawing towards the canvas, waiting for something more. Noah and Ethan felt it too, the anticipation stretching thin, as if everyone collectively held their breath. "What happens next?" Noah whispered to Ethan, sensing the weight of the moment. Ethan looked at him, eyes wide. "Let us finish this together." As they both leaned into their performance with a final burst of strength, a figure at the edge of the crowd caught their eye, a woman wrapped in a bright scarf and wide-brimmed hat. Her intense gaze bore into them, and it felt as though she understood the depth of their struggle more than anyone else. "Who is she?" Noah wondered aloud, his heart thumping because in her eyes lay an uncharted future, waiting to reveal secrets that could change everything for them both. Would they be ready to embrace it? Noah's heart raced with questions, but the moment wasn't the time for answers. He and Ethan had ignited something special, an energy that pulsed through the crowd like wildfire. Yet, that woman, her presence brought a mix of curiosity and apprehension. As she stepped closer, her features sharpened into focus. The bright scarf framed her face, radiating an inviting warmth. She lingered at the edge of the crowd, eyes wide, absorbing all the chaos and beauty that unfolded before her. Noah felt an urge to reach out, to pull her into this world of colors and sound. "Do you think she'll join us?" Ethan asked, glancing from the canvas to the woman. He seemed to sense the weight of her gaze too. "Maybe she already is," Noah responded, caught between the thrill of the performance and the mystery of the woman. He sensed that she was somehow woven into the tapestry of their stories. The crowd clapped in unison, a rhythm that almost felt primal. Noah took a deep breath, letting the moment carry him. He strummed his guitar harder, letting the music guide him into the depths of their shared experience. Together, together, he shouted, urging the audience to surrender to the moment. He could feel their energy swell once more, like the tide rising after a retreat. Each hand clapped, each voice lifted, a surge of emotion pushing against doubt. Ethan added splashes of color that reflected the tumult above a blend of fierce oranges beneath deep purples, like a sunset fighting against the darkness. With each stroke, the image on the canvas transformed, embodying the spirit of resilience. Noah caught a glimpse of Maria, her face shining with newfound strength as she called for others to share their stories. They were weaving a narrative stronger than any one of them could create alone. The moment felt alive, electric, yet the mystery of the woman lingered at the back of his mind. The performance escalated. Noah's chords intensified, and Ethan's brushwork reached a fever pitch. But through it all, the woman remained, watching, her gaze unwavering. Hope flickered in Noah's heart. Was she here to share her story or indeed, to offer guidance? As the song reached its crescendo, Noah threw himself into the music, pouring his soul into every note. He looked over at Ethan, who was lost in the moment, a whirlwind of colors flowing from his brush. Then, as if the universe conspired to bring clarity, the woman took a step forward. The crowd parted slightly, creating a path for her to the front. Every eye turned toward her, breaths suspended in anticipation. What will she say? Someone murmured in the crowd. The whispered question ricocheted against the backdrop of boisterous energy, intensifying the moment. Noah's fingers slowed on the guitar, the final note lingering in the air. He felt a connection, a thread binding him to this woman, to Ethan, and to everyone present. Can you feel it? He whispered to Ethan. We're on the edge of something big. Ethan nodded solemnly, both excited and nervous. The woman stopped before them, her voice steady and melodic, cutting through the lingering chords. I see you too, she began, but what lies ahead is not just about your journey. It's about the healing we can all find. A wave of silence fell over the crowd, every person transfixed by the promise in her words. What truth would she reveal, and how would it change everything they believed? The woman paused, her statement hanging in the air, heavy with potential. Noah felt the energy shift. Curiosity crackled like static electricity among the crowd. Faces turned, some wide-eyed with anticipation while others held an edge of skepticism. He could sense the mix of hope and fear, a flicker of possibility igniting in every soul present. What do you mean? A voice broke the silence, searching for clarity. It belonged to a young man near the front, whose hand gripped the shoulder of his friend, seeking reassurance. The woman smiled softly, as if she knew where this was leading. Each of you carries a story, a burden, a wound. Together, you've already started this healing journey, whether you know it or not. She glanced at Noah and Ethan, her eyes mirroring a depth of understanding he hadn't seen before. The art, the music, it's all part of this transformation. Ethan leaned closer, curiosity igniting in his gaze. But how? She stepped forward, the crowd instinctively parting to create a sacred space around her. The answer lies not in simple answers, but in connecting. You are the messengers of this moment. Your creativity can spark change. Sharing your truths opens doors for others too. Noah's heart thudded loudly in his chest. She was inviting them all to deeper, uncharted territories. Was that really possible? He could feel the crowd lean in, and he glanced at Ethan. Their gaze met, and a swarm of thoughts swirled in silence between them. What did it mean to be leaders of this movement? The woman continued, imagine a world where your scars weave a tapestry instead of dividing you. Everyone here has a story to share, just like the colors on Ethan's canvas blend together to create something beautiful. Noah took a step forward himself, his guitar feeling heavier in his grasp. You're asking us to be vulnerable, to share what we feel, he said, his voice breaking through the anticipatory silence. But why would anyone want to hear our stories? The woman smiled wider, as if he had touched upon an essential truth. Because in sharing, you grow. Your vulnerability opens gateways for healing, both for you and those who find their reflection in your journey. The crowd shifted, murmurs of agreement mixed with whispers of doubt. Noah saw the glimmer of understanding in Maria's eyes. She stepped up next to him, emboldened. "I have something to share," she said quietly, yet her voice carried. "I've struggled with my past for so long. But seeing you all here, in this moment it makes me rethink how I view my story." The crowd listened, the air buzzing with the kind of tension that could only come from raw emotion. Noah felt the weight of Maria's truth, and it echoed similar feelings of hesitation within himself. Could he do the same? Would sharing his fears help him let go? Just then, the woman raised her hands, urging the people around her to look at one another. "Let the music and colors guide you. Let your hearts beat as one." With each word, Noah felt compelled to do something, anything. He strummed the guitar. A tentative yet hopeful melody emerged. Ethan took up his brush, letting it move across the canvas like a pulse, breathing life into the art, matching Noah's rhythm. The crowd was alive now, voices rising as they joined in. "We're all connected," someone sang. The melody spread, rich and full. Suddenly, the woman turned her gaze to Noah, her eyes fierce. "You have the power to break barriers. Embrace your fears, Noah. Help others find the same courage." His heart raced, flutters of doubt colliding with soaring hope. Did he truly have the strength to transform not just himself but everyone around him? Just as he was about to speak, the woman held up a finger to silence the crowd. "You must trust in what's to come, even if it feels uncertain." Noah blinked, breath catching in his throat. "What do you see for us?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Her gaze deepened, fixated on him alone. "Hold on, the journey has only just begun." As her words wrapped around him like a warm embrace, an undercurrent of anticipation pulsed through the crowd. Was this the moment that would set everything in motion? Or was something much greater waiting just beyond this shift? Noah stood there, electrified by the woman's gaze, while the crowd swelled around him, a mix of uncertainty and hope. He could feel the vibrations of his heartbeat echoing through his chest. Something was changing. The air was thick with tension, but also with anticipation, a heady combination that stoked the fires of possibility. "Trust," he repeated, feeling the weight of the words settle on his shoulders like a new responsibility. As he let the thought wash over him, he glanced at Ethan. Ethan's face reflected a blend of excitement and fear, the two emotions blending together into something powerful. They both knew this was more than a moment, it was the beginning of something profound. Taking a deep breath, Noah looked out at the crowd gathered before him. These faces were filled with stories, just waiting to be told. The woman had been right. Their scars could intertwine to create something new and beautiful. He tightened his grip around his guitar, fingers dancing over the strings as if they were seeking their voice. "I'm scared," he confessed, his voice quaking. "But maybe this is our chance." Ethan nodded, their understanding unspoken but clear. "We can't keep hiding behind walls. It's time to share what we really feel." The woman smiled knowingly, as if she had been waiting for this moment. "Exactly. It's through courage that connections will grow. And look," she gestured to the canvas, now bright with colors swirling together. "Each brushstroke is a voice, each note is a heartbeat." As if on cue, Maria stepped forward again, her voice steady this time. "I thought my story didn't matter. But now I see how it can resonate with others. I want to share." A few others began to nod along, and it was as if a dam had broken. Noah felt the energy shift. The fear that had gripped him was dissolving, replaced by a collective urge to express, to connect. The woman's eyes sparked with approval. "See? Trust gives rise to strength and vulnerability opens pathways. Let that be your guide. Share your truths, and you'll witness the magic unfold." Noah turned back to his guitar, and this time he played a little louder, letting the music surge through him. The notes bounced around them, wrapping like warm sunlight, coaxing everyone out of their shells. The chorus rose, voices blending in harmony, creating a new energy that electrified the very air. An older man in the back stepped forward. I've carried a burden for so long. Music used to be my escape and I forgot how to connect. His voice trembled, but he pressed on. Tonight, let us remember together. A wave of emotion surged through Noah as he watched the man speak. There was undeniable strength in embracing one's pain. It wasn't just a performance anymore. It was a call to arms, a chance to heal alongside one another. The crowd surged around the older man, encouraging him. One by one, faces lit up with determination as more stories unfolded. There was raw honesty in the air now, each story dripped with vulnerability and hope as the evening wore on. Nathan became lost in the music and stories, feeding off their energy. Each passing moment stitched their hearts closer together. He felt lighter, liberated from the chains of silence that had held him captive. But just as the song swelled to its peak, the woman's voice cut through, crystal clear. This is only the beginning of your transformation. The real work lies ahead. Noah's heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? The crowd paused, hangers-on left breathless by her unyielding presence. You've begun to connect with one another. But bear in mind the journey humbles you. There will be trials and you'll have to face them. As Noah processed her words, a faint flicker of uncertainty sparked in the back of his mind. He glanced around at the faces glowing with newfound energy and felt the weight of responsibility sink into him. What kinds of trials? The woman smiled mysteriously. You'll find that out soon enough. Are you ready to embrace the next chapter? Noah looked from her to Ethan, Maria, the older man, and back to the crowd. With a deep breath, he nodded. Slowly, we're ready. But as he spoke those words, a breeze stirred through the crowd, carrying with it an unsettling feeling. What challenges lay ahead waiting to test their newfound connection? Under the soft glow of the fairest evening lights, Ethan and Noah felt the world shift around them, the laughter, the stories, the collective heartbeat of this community, weaving their paths closer together. It was more than just a fair. It was their awakening, their newfound freedom. And yet, the woman's words hung in the air, heavy with the promise of trials to come. Noah glanced at Ethan, who stood steadfast beside him, a determined look in his eyes. Whatever comes next, Ethan said quietly, we'll face it together. There was a strength in that bond, a tether that would keep them anchored no matter how stormy the seas ahead. As the fair began to wind down and the crowd slowly dispersed, a few townspeople lingered, catching the twins' attention. One woman stepped closer, her face lit with hope. You boys have so much talent. I felt so lost, but hearing you tonight it made me want to paint again. Ethan's heart swelled. You should. Art is for everyone. On the other side, a shy boy recently teased for his love for music gathered courage. Can I join you next time you practice? He asked. Noah nodded emphatically, a radiant smile breaking on his face. Absolutely. The more, the merrier. This was what they had envisioned. A village united by sharing their creative hearts, intertwining their scars into a tapestry that spoke of resilience. The community wasn't just beginning to see Ethan and Noah. They started to see themselves through the twins' lens. Maria, watching from the sidelines with tears glistening in her eyes, whispered a heartfelt prayer of gratitude. She felt a surge of pride for the boys, blooming in her chest. They were no longer merely silent afterthoughts. They had risen to become a rallying cry for connection and healing. Then, the presence of the woman in the bright scarf drew near again. You've ignited something incredible tonight, she commended, her tone earnest. But remember, true transformation takes time and effort. What you did today was just a spark. What's our next step? Noah asked bravely, emboldened by the wave of support surrounding him. She gazed into their eyes, her voice softening. Share your journey. Hold workshops. Invite others to express themselves. You have the ability to lead with authenticity. And that means being ready for the naysayers too. Not everyone will understand your vulnerability as strength. A chill rushed over Noah at her words. What if the naysayers returned, just waiting to tear down what they had built? But then he felt Ethan squeeze his hand, grounding him. Fear didn't own them anymore. Together they could soar. "I think we're ready," Ethan spoke confidently, the spark of determination igniting conversations among the crowd who had witnessed their performance. "We want to grow together." After a round of excited nods, the talk of a community art project began spinning into action. They shared ideas, sketches filled with hopes and plans, stirs of optimism flowing through the air like the sweet scent of fairground treats. There was a ripple of unity as stories bonded them, a web of emotions connecting every individual. As night deepened, Ethan and Noah gathered with Maria and the woman, poring over the plans. The stories flowed freely, ideas for paints, guitars, and inspiration pinned to a makeshift board under the twinkling stars. The concentrated energy in that circle felt warm and intimate, each moment wrapped in laughter and encouragement. Hope swelled in their hearts. "Remember, the road to transformation will not be easy," the woman cautioned gently. "But wield your tools with bravery. Stand firm in who you are, and hold tight to each other." "I won't let go," Noah said with a smile, feeling the depth of their newfound purpose. Around them, feelings of anticipation buzzed in the air, an affirmation that they belonged, that they could confront each challenge together. With laughter spilling like treasure, they made a pact to continue sharing their light and spreading the spark they had ignited. Bound together by a promise, they moved to embrace what lay ahead as the fairground hushed and the stars blazed above. A shift occurred. The twins had fought through the shadows. Now, they were stepping boldly into the unknown, a heartbeat of promise ready to thrive. They were more than silent twins. They were a movement, a community, and a vibrant chorus of change. They had turned pain into beauty, lifting not just themselves but everyone around them into the dawn of transformation. And as they headed home, hand in hand, hearts soaring with excitement and joy, they knew deep within that this was just the beginning of their story. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment your reactions and feelings about this extraordinary ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.